Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something that a lot of people ask about, but it's a really tricky path to walk. We're talking about how to go from being a tourist in Australia to applying for a partner visa, all without having to leave the country. It's a journey filled with potential traps, so let's break down exactly how you can navigate it the right way.
So, let's just get straight to the point. The one big question that's probably on your mind right now. Can you actually apply for a partner visa in Australia while you're here on a tourist visa? Is that even a thing?
And the short answer is, yes, you absolutely can. But, and this is a really big but, the stakes are incredibly high. One single wrong move can mean your partner ends up being an unlawful resident, or worse, gets hit with a 3-year ban from Australia. It's no joke.
And financially, a lot is on the line. We're talking over $9,000 for the application fee, and it's non-refundable. If you make a mistake and your application is invalid, that money is just gone. The pressure is definitely on.
Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with the big picture. Then we'll tackle the two biggest walls you can hit, the no further stay condition and this tricky thing called Schedule 3. After that, we'll get into the fun stuff, strategy, cover the mistakes you have to avoid, and finally talk about the safest way to get this done. Let's get into it.
So, applying for a partner visa from right here in Australia, what they call an onshore application, is totally possible. But it's all about planning. If you get the timing wrong or misunderstand a tiny detail on the visa, you could be looking at really serious consequences, like becoming unlawful or getting that 3-year ban.
The process itself is basically a two-stage journey. First, you put in the application for the temporary 820 visa. Then, you wait. 2 years from the day you applied, the government comes back and rechecks your relationship. If you're still together and everything's legit, boom, you're granted the permanent 801 visa. It's a long road for sure, and that first step is everything.
All right, let's talk about the first major wall you might slam into. Before you even think about filling out a form, you have got to check your partner's current tourist visa for something called a no further stay condition. This is a big one. This table really lays it all out. If there's no condition on the visa, fantastic, you're good to go. But if you see any of these codes, 853, 8534, or 8535, that's a full stop. You cannot apply in Australia unless you can get that condition waived. And let me tell you, that is not easy to do.
And let's be absolutely crystal clear here. This isn't a guideline. It's a hard and fast rule. If that condition is on the visa, any application you make from inside Australia is invalid right from the get-go if you submit it anyway. It's an automatic rejection and you lose that huge application fee. So what's the lesson? Check the visa conditions first, always.
Okay, so let's say you've checked and your partner's visa is clean. No further stay condition. You're in the clear, right? Phew. Well, not so fast. There's another, much sneakier trap lurking in the shadows called Schedule 3. It's a totally separate thing and it catches so many people off guard.
This slide shows the difference perfectly. Think of it this way. The no further stay condition is like a lock on your current visa. Schedule 3, on the other hand, is a whole new set of hurdles that pops up if you let that visa expire before you apply for the next one. There are two totally different challenges you might face. So, to put it really simply, Schedule 3 gets triggered the moment your partner becomes unlawful, even by one single day. Let's say their tourist visa expires on a Tuesday and you don't get that partner visa application lodged until Wednesday. That's it. You've now triggered Schedule 3, and you have to meet these incredibly strict extra criteria to have any chance of success.
Okay, we've talked about the problems, now let's talk solutions. Because with the right strategy and most importantly the right timing, you can absolutely navigate these rules and sidestep all the common traps.
First up, let's clear up a massive misunderstanding for de facto or unmarried couples. The law says you have to be in a de facto relationship for at least 12 months before you apply. But here's the trap. That 12-month clock doesn't start ticking from your first date. Nope. It starts from when you actually begin living together, sharing your finances, building a life together.
Now, this 12-month rule can be a real problem, right? Especially if your partner's only just arrived in Australia on a short tourist visa. So the big question is there a way around it?
Yes, there is. And honestly, this is the single most powerful tool you have. In most Australian states, you can go and officially register your de facto relationship. And that one simple act completely waives the 12-month living together requirement. It's a game changer.
The benefits here are huge. Not only does it get you around that tricky 12-month rule, but it also gives you this rock-solid, official piece of evidence that your relationship is legit. And in some states, like Queensland, it's super fast to process, which is perfect if you're racing against an expiring tourist visa.
Okay, now we need to talk about the Bridging Visa A, or BVA. This is probably the most dangerous trap of all. The moment you apply for the partner visa, a BVA is granted, but, and this is key, it's dormant, it's asleep. It doesn't wake up and become active until the day your tourist visa expires. So if there are 11 months left on that tourist visa, that means 11 months with 0 work rights in Australia.
And I really can't stress this enough. Working during that dormant period is illegal. It's a breach of the tourist visa conditions, and it can get the visa canceled. Some people think they can be clever and ask immigration to cancel the tourist visa to turn on the BVA early. This is a catastrophic mistake. If you do that, the bridging visa gets canceled too, and your partner is left unlawful. Don't ever do it.
All right, we're getting close to the end, so let's wrap this up with a final warning. Let's consolidate all these points into the most common and most costly mistakes people make trying to do this. This slide is basically your what not to do checklist. Apply with a no further stay condition, you lose your money. Let the visa expire, hello, Schedule 3. Give inconsistent information, you could get a fraud-related refusal and a 3-year ban. And finally, leaving the country on the wrong visa means you might not be able to get back in. Each one of these is a disaster.
So after hearing about all these potential landmines, you're probably thinking, what is the safe path forward? How do you actually get through this without risking your entire future together? Well, this is where getting some expert help isn't just a nice idea, it's pretty much essential. Look, this whole process is it's complex. You're juggling visa conditions, Schedule 3, timing strategies, and massive evidence requirements. As we've seen, one tiny slip-up can lead to your partner becoming unlawful, losing over $9,000, or facing that awful 3-year ban. The risks are just way too high to guess your way through it. And that's exactly why specialists, like the registered migration agents over at First Migration Service Center, are so valuable. They live and breathe this stuff. They understand all the tiny details of Schedule 3, how to get those NFS conditions waived, and how to master the timing with bridging visas. If you're ready to take the next step with real confidence, they have a free visa assessment form on their site. It's a simple way to get some advice that's actually tailored to your specific situation. This is one of the most important applications of your life. It's really not the time for guesswork.